Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Star Fox 64. In the last part, we started off Path 3 by going back to Corneria and taking care of the accomplished mission there and heading through Sector Y. And now we're heading into, let's just say a divisive level in my eyes. Welcome to Aquas.
Star Fox, I want you to take out the enemy bioweapon.
Yes, sir. Deploy the Blue Marine.
Good luck.
I'm gonna check out the bioweapon.
Cool, Fox. So welcome to Aquas, the only level that uses the Star Fox team submarine, the Blue Marine. And you might notice something, only one ship launched out there. Every single one of the core Star Fox crew is on the Blue Marine. You're the only one in this mission. By and large, the controls are the exact same, but you might notice up in the top right, you have infinite smart bombs because they're not smart bombs in this level, they're torpedoes. Torpedoes are more or less just focused charge shots, just with a little more power. They'll home in on anything that they lock onto, and they also emit light, which is the more important thing, because the further you get into Aquas, the darker it gets, to the point where the only light you're going to often have is the torpedo. So even though if there's no enemies on screen there to lock onto, spam the torpedo just so you can actually see where you're going. Now, the reason this level is divisive, in my eyes, because it's the water level. It's slow, and there's not much going on in it. But I love the atmosphere here, and I especially adore the music. And admittedly, any water level where I get to pilot any form of submarine, I'm probably going to like anyway. So I like it here. Plus, we have some pretty unique enemies here. It's almost all just native organic life. Not too many actual ships here. The only other level that's like that from memory is Solar. Titanium maybe, but I think there's some like mechanical beings on that planet at least. This one, yeah.
Good thing you prepared, Flip.
Now, I should note, for some years I thought there was a secondary mission here on Aquas in order to get to Solar, but there's not. In order to get to the next part of Path 3, you just have to beat this stage. There's no accomplished versus complete here, just clearing the stage is all you need to do. And notably, in order to get the medal here, you need to get a 150-point score. Which can be a little bit tough in this stage, not because there's not enough things, but because you don't have the charge shot in order to get the extra hit bonuses from killing the enemies and then also getting the extra one for getting them all at once. You just need to mash and hope you can get it. Not to mention, sometimes the darkness here can make it hard to see what you can shoot. But yeah, I find this level relaxing.
Look out behind you!
Not one of my favorite levels in the game, admittedly, in terms of just going through it, but I enjoy my time here. Although, admittedly, that anglerfish gives me uncomfortable flashbacks to Georg from Majora's Mask, and as much as I love that game, I hate that boss fight. The hardest part of the stage is probably right here, honestly, where we have these jellyfish with interconnected electric fields. Because between how fast the Blue Marine moves, read slow, it's a little bit hard to judge where you are relative to the actual electricity, so it can be easy to get hit here. Thankfully, even though not many things actively fire at you in this stage, most things just try to outright run into you. I believe the barrel roll is still good for avoiding a good amount of attacks in here. Some things can just bounce off of you from memory.
I got a bad feeling about this, Fox.
Good for you, Peppy. This part of the stage can also be a little bit lethal because the rocks fall out of nowhere and you're probably going to get hit by at least one or two of them on your first run. Those do some damage. Thankfully, whenever you see a clam on the floor, you can shoot it to break it open. And it's either going to contain a health up or something relevant to you. Maybe a laser upgrade if you've died in the stage prior.
I found the bioweapon.
I should like to spam the clams right here towards the end or at the start of the stage. With that said, now we're on to the boss of Aquas. This is Bakun, giant clam extraordinaire. I like this boss a lot, mostly because I like the design of it. The way this boss works is it's got several little barnacles on the top that will be firing out enemies at you that'll try to home in. But what you want to do is aim at the little tendons connecting the clamshell bits when it opens. When they turn into a weird gradient, shoot a torpedo at them to break them. Once you break them both, you enter phase 2, where our goal is to destroy the eyeball at the back. With that said, the eyeball isn't always vulnerable. As you can see right there, it's got this little face on it. It's actually shielded. What you need to do there is just spam fire until the eye opens. The annoying thing comes in that phase in that it's going to be spam firing at you as much as it's spam firing, or you're spam firing at it. And it gets pretty good at aiming in a way where, unless you're just spamming and timing consistently, having the torpedo go all the way to the boss without getting hit by one of the projectiles it's firing at you can be troublesome. Not hard, just troublesome. Admittedly, though, we get a good read on how big the range of the torpedo is here for the explosion, because the things that it's firing out, I guess they're meant to be pearls, are all over the place. Yeah, you can see what I mean by it's sometimes hard to get a torpedo through with all those just there. Thankfully, by this point, as long as you're spam firing while also rotating the ship slightly just to take care of anything that might be coming in your way directly, you won't be taking much damage here. It's just a war of attrition to when you kill it rather than it killing you at this point, which, you know, I always appreciate. And thankfully, the pearls can also drop health.
Yippee! You did it!
We're preparing to dock. Thanks, Flip. Blue Marine came through. Flip is not such a screw-up after all.
Thanks a lot, Peppy.
I'll take the sky any day.
Sheesh, Falco. You too.
That's Aquas, though. I like this stage. I know some people don't, but I don't care. Love the music here. That's the main reason. It's so peaceful. Used to be on one of my sleep music playlists that I listened to back in high school. I still listen to them, just not that one too much, because I found more music and my tastes have evolved. But now we're moving on to probably my least favorite stage in the game. Because, oh boy, Zonus is a special kind of hell.
There's an enemy base there?
Affirmative, General.
Good luck.
Let's sneak in low and surprise them. This is Zonus? I can't believe they did it.
What a jump!
I hear you, Flippy.
Watch out for the searchlight!
Let's take them all out!
Well, they just describe what you have to do in this level pretty easily. The way you get a mission complete versus accomplished here in Zonus is these searchlights. If you destroy them all, you get the accomplished. If you miss one and you get spotted, well, you're going to be in hell and you're going to get the mission complete thing, because Zonus is spammed with enemies, more so even than Sector Y. And they are out to kill you in a much more aggressive way. Not to mention, there's also a lot more level geometry here for you to run into. It's very easy to take a lot of damage very quickly in this stage, and I do not like it.
We're closing in on them, Falco. Take the right light, boy. I have the left.
Cat, what are you doing here?
Is that any way to greet a girl?
But just like how we got Bill over in Katina, we have a helper in this stage at least. This is Kat. She'll take care of some lights that you can't, same with Falco. And that's about it. Sometimes she gets chased. She's just another AI pilot, but I love her little intro theme. It's nice and peaceful sounding. Be careful these giant snakes because they're indestructible, so just try to fly under them and don't try to actually shoot them. Now, admittedly, Zonas I don't like, but I like the music here. But I mostly don't like the back half of it because we start getting a lot more geometry that you can run into that's not just rocks. And there's a lot of enemies around there, so it's really easy to get hit. Plus, I don't like the searchlights because sometimes they get really tricky with where they're placed, including with these little rotors that you can rotate. Because I swear the rotors are inconsistent as to where they'll rotate and how. Because sometimes you shoot them, they'll rotate up. Sometimes you'll shoot them, they'll rotate down, and it'll make the door go up and down respectively. I think the way it's supposed to work is that it's based off of whether or not you're shooting the top or bottom half of it. But aiming that precisely in this game is not easy. So because of that, we also got tankers here. You know what? I appreciate this. I like this kind of aesthetic. Now, the Zonas lore is a bit of an odd planet because I believe it used to be like some sort of vacation destination. That's why Peppy commented it, like, what the hell happened here at the start of the level. I think he, like, spent his honeymoon with his wife here or something along those lines. Don't go for that gold ring. It's a trap. You'll just get hit by the ship and lose a lot of health. If you want to get the medal here, though, you're in for a trip because I believe Zonas has the highest medal tally out of any stage of the game at 250. So, good luck. I mean, admittedly, if you look at the score, we got maybe about 2 minutes left in the stage-ish before we start going after the mission complete. And we're at 157, but still, that's still almost 100 I'm missing. And even though there's a lot of enemies here, you're going to need to carefully place your charge shots here in order to easily get that, I'd say. We also get probably the worst chugging the game has here because there's so much on screen. This level can be rough, is the best way to describe it. And I recall having some problems with it in the 3DS version as well because it's still the same level, just it runs better. But at the same time, that means it's faster and I can't comprehend what's going on as much. What also doesn't help the searchlight gimmick is that they're through most of the stage. They don't stop like halfway through.
Gee Louise, what is that? Be careful, it might be a trap.
Something's coming from the sea!
Disrespectful little whelp. I'll teach you some respect.
Boss of Zonas is the Saru Marine, and this boss is a little bit interesting in how it works. We got an indestructible steel ball at the start that has some pipes around it. You want to shoot the pipes because those early on are not only what you have to hit, but they will keep it from restoring health later on. From there, you want to shoot a bomb at one of the side things. Notably, basically every cannonball you break will drop one, so don't worry about getting them. In fact, I could actually recommend farming them out right here. When you destroy one of the two things on the left or right, they sink, and then the thing will turn around to grab it with a hook. At that point, you need to shoot the hook to prevent it from regenerating the thing. At that point, you can take out the other side, and from there, the boss gets pretty easy because you can just shoot the main body, and it'll die pretty quickly. The latter half of the health bar goes down pretty easily because it's just a giant hitbox.
All aircraft report.
I'm having some trouble here.
Everything's A-OK. Cat, where'd you go?
Yeah, probably that way. Yeah, we might see her later. That's Zonas. Going for the mission accomplished here can be troublesome, and I do not like this stage because of it. With that said, if you're just going for the mission complete, it's not as bad, especially because you can focus more on dodging. but not a fan. And for getting the mission accomplished, we continue on to the last stage of Path 3 on its own, Sector Z. With that, though, let's now go back into Zone S and take care of the mission accomplished, or the mission complete ending, just so we can see what happens with it, more or less, because it's just going to take us over to Macbeth. The way you do it, as I mentioned, just miss one of the...
Have we been spotted?
I think it's pretty clear how you get the mission complete here. You just miss one of the searchlights, they spot you, they turn red, and I think they even spawn more enemies from there, but don't quote me on that. It might make it easier to get the medal, but not to my interests. After that, you just continue on, beat the boss, and you are completely in the good to move on to Macbeth.
All aircraft report.
I'm fine.
Looks like we're heading for Macbeth. Cat, where'd you go?
Notice how the dialogue doesn't change there. There's a notable reason for that we'll get into when we're in Sector Z next part. But yeah, Zone S, I like it more when the mission complete, but I still don't like the level. But with that and us reaching Macbeth, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in Part 7, we're going to be tackling the last 2 levels before the final level, and then seeing what happens from there. See you guys then.